Yesterday we have discussed high-powered money, then money multiplier. You have to remember, or we require a quick recap. Money multiplier, what is the meaning of money multiplier? Money multiplier we are explaining in two ways, currency deposit ratio and the cash reserve ratio. What is currency deposit ratio, children? Currency deposit ratio means, we have already told you, it is the preference of the public. Public means yourself and myself. It is the preference of the public between currency and the demand deposit. Whether people prefer cash or people prefer demand deposit. The moment people prefer currency, naturally, the circulation of that currency, it depends upon whether they would like to spend the money or not. When they are holding more currency, less will be available with the bank. On the other hand, when they are putting more in demand deposit, bank will be having more cash. Okay, now we are discussing, this is important, cash reserve ratio. Okay, what is CRR? CRR is the cash reserve ratio. I told you yesterday we discussed R. R is the total reserve money held by the commercial bank. High-powered money में आपने देखा, high-powered money is equivalent to C plus R. R is the reserve ratio. Reserve ratio means total deposit जो है उसमें से कितना amount commercial bank reserve में रखता है, that is known as reserve. इधर आप देखो, reserve of the bank is divided into two. One is required reserve. Second is excess reserve. Okay. One is the required reserve, another one is excess reserve. So what do you mean by required reserve? Dekho, required reserve means it is the compulsory reserve. It is the compulsory reserve. That means these are the reserve means security cash. These are the reserves which the commercial banks are, statutorily required to hold with central bank. So as far as Indian commercial bank is concerned, Indian commercial bank ko, there are, who has, 1 minute, who has not unmuted, who has unmuted themselves? 1 minute. Yes, Anil Sonavani, I will put him in there. Every day it is a routine thing for him. Go to the waiting room. Please remember that as far as India is concerned, are they, 1 minute. Yes, Aftab Khan, I told you, you are not supposed to unmute. I will lock the room so that they will not be coming and creating disturbance. Okay, they cannot enter now. Let them be there. Indian commercial banks are subjected to two types of reserve by the Reserve Bank of India. Mandatorily, Indian commercial bank ko do reserve rakhna padega. One is CRR, other is SLR. This we discussed in the beginning chapters. What is CRR, children? Cash reserve ratio. CRR is cash reserve ratio. SLR is statutory liquidity ratio. CRR is cash reserve ratio. SLR is statutory liquidity ratio. Please take down the book and pen and write. What is CRR? out of every deposit, certain percentage has to be kept as cash. Commercial banks, out of every deposit, certain percentage has to be kept as cash. That is known as CRR. Now, who will fix how much the commercial bank is supposed to keep? This will be fixed by RBI. Okay. Every weekly analysis लेगा, वो weekly analysis में commercial bank find out करेगा कितना cash आया, वो जितना cash आया उसका certain percentage Reserve Bank में रखना पड़ेगा in the form of cash. That means suppose that commercial bank को वो हफ्ते में 50 करोड़ मिल गया, okay, Canara Bank को 50 करोड़ वो हफ्ते में मिल गया. Suppose that CRR is 5%. What is the meaning? When CRR is 5%, 50 into 5, that is 2.5 crore commercial bank को, that is Canara Bank को अपने पास रखना पड़ेगा. Okay, or it has to be kept with RBI as they decide. Remaining 47.5 जो है, that has to be distributed or that can be used for loans. Okay, so there are two types of reserve. One is CRR, other is SLR. What is the full form of CRR, children? CRR का full form क्या है? I want the answer.
Cash reserve ratio.
Very good. Cash reserve ratio. And I told you what is cash reserve ratio. That is out of the total deposit received, certain percentage has to be kept as cash. India, ma'am, at present, it is moving between 4 to 4.5%. That means every commercial bank को 100 rupee मिलने पर 100 into 4.5. Okay. So 100 into 4.5 कितना आएगा, children? I hope 1 minute. 100 commercial bank is getting 100 rupee. Okay, 1 minute. I am also checking that only. So 45 rupees commercial bank को 100 into 4.5 कितना मिला? नहीं, 400 into 4.5 means again 4.5 rupees commercial bank को अपने पास रखना पड़ेगा. What is the reason? Remaining जो है उतना ही commercial bank को loan दे सकता है. That means 100, thank you, 100 minus 4.5. That is around 95%, 95 rupees commercial bank can give us the loan. What is the reason? In case depositor comes to withdraw the money, commercial bank के पास पैसा होना चाहिए. That is the reason Reserve Bank is making CRR compulsory. ये देखो, higher the CRR, lower will be the credit creation. Okay, higher the CRR, lower will be the credit. This is a good question for MCQs. Here I told you CRR is 4.5. Suppose CRR is 10%. 100 rupees commercial bank is getting. So commercial bank को 10 rupees रखना पड़ेगा, 90 rupees loan दे सकता है. एक केस में 5 rupees रखना पड़ेगा, 95 rupees loan देता है. So जब CRR बढ़ता है, the amount of loan which is given by commercial bank will be less. 1 minute, children, just give me. Sorry, children, I had some urgent work. Okay, I'm coming back. So what we are telling is, we were explaining that commercial bank, when the CRR is high, commercial bank has to keep more money with them. Less money, they can give it as the loan. I had given you the example. When CRR is 10%, commercial bank has to keep 10 rupees, 90 rupees they can give loan. When CRR is say 4%, commercial bank has to keep 4% and they can give 96 rupees as the loan. Okay, so now in addition to the reserve, this is the required reserve. Required reserve means mandatory. Mandatory. In addition to this CRR, there is also SLR. Remember, SLR is statutory liquidity ratio. इंडिया में CRR के ऊपर कमर्शियल बैंक को SLR भी रखना पड़ेगा. So, but SLR is generally moving between 15%. Okay, that means 100 rupees जो मिलता है, 15 rupees should be kept it as additional reserve. So, commercial bank को CRR, SLR सब होने के बाद जो cash आता है, only that can be given as the loan. Now, one is the required reserve आपने देखा. Now we are going to discuss. Now this is the required reserve which is compulsory. Now there is excess reserve. Children, what do you mean by excess reserve? This is the first point. This is purely voluntary in character. What do you mean by voluntary? Commercial bank को normal compulsory reserve के ऊपर भी जो amount रखना चाहिए वो रख सकता है. That is known as voluntary reserve. This is known as voluntary reserve. These are required to meet currency drain and clearing the drain. What do you mean by currency drain? कभी कभी ऐसा हो जाता है, एक दिन में हम कमर्शियल बैंक से बहुत सारा कैश विड्रॉ होगा. That is known as currency drain. ये देखो, net withdrawal of the cash by the depositors. आपको मालूम है कभी कभी जब दिन स्टार्ट होता है, लोगों को लगता है आज हम कैश ही विड्रॉ करेगा. So there will be huge rush for cash. So commercial banks are prepared because when the depositor is asking for his money, commercial bank cannot say no. You please remember that. एक बार commercial bank बोलता है हम हमको पैसा नहीं देगा, then the confidence of the people will be lost and people will stand in queue to withdraw the money. If everybody is withdrawing the money, you know that what will happen? Banks will be closed. Okay, banks will be closed. So there are two types of reserve, children. One is the required reserve, second is the excess reserve. Required reserve means there are two reserves. What are they? Required reserve means दो reserve है. वो क्या क्या है? जल्दी बोलो.
CRR and SLR.
Excellent. CRR and SLR. You are perfectly right. CRR is the cash reserve ratio. SLR is the statutory liquidity ratio. Jab SLR and CRR, when both are high, commercial banks can give less loan. This is very important. Remember, so Reserve Bank will change the CRR and SLR according to the situation. Now I told you CRR is 4 to 4.5, SLR is 14%. There was a time when CRR was 10%, SLR was 35%. So Reserve Bank situation jaisa hai, aisa they will change the ratio. Okay. So there are, now I told you there is excess reserve. What is excess reserve? Excess reserve is the voluntary reserve held by the bank. Voluntary reserve held by the bank. What do you mean by voluntary reserve? Voluntary reserve means the reserves to meet currency and clearing the drain, currency drain and clearing drain. What is currency drain, children? लोग अपने आप जाकर उसी दिन कैश ज्यादा विड्रॉ कर सकता है. सो वो इमरजेंसी के लिए कमर्शियल बैंक कभी भी थोड़ा cash extra रखेगा. Please remember that. That is the meaning of that term. The net, currency drain. Currency कभी भी लोग withdraw कर सकता है. The moment more money is withdrawn, the bank will be in trouble. Please remember. लेकिन भी बैंक जितना withdrawal का ऐसा प्लानिंग है वो पैसा रोज रेडी करके रखेगा. Because when the demand is more currency will be withdrawn. मैं example बोलता है. I am not sure about your Ramzan or Eid. Well, during Navaratri and Deepavali festival in India, cash withdrawal is very high because Lakshmi Puja के लिए लोग नया cash withdraw करके नया currency लेकर रखेगा. Please remember that because it's a festival season. All the communities are having your own festivals. So उधर भी आपको मालूम है आपका सिस्टम कैसा जाता है करके. So कमर्शियल बैंक को जो रिजर्व बैंक का रूल है एक्सेस रिजर्व कैसा फॉलो करने का ऐसा करना ही पड़ेगा. इट्स a double protection. One is a compulsory reserve, second is excess reserve. Children, what do you mean by excess? Excess means voluntary. Put it in the chat box. Is it clear to you? Chat box में डाला. Okay, thank you. Now, there was two drain आपने देखा. One is the cash drain, वो आपने देखा. Second is the clearing drain. What do you mean by clearing drain? Clearing drain means the cash which is required to meet the clearing of checks. आपको मालूम है, I am having an account with Canara Bank. I am giving check of 5,000 rupees to Mr. X. Mr. X is having account with Bank of Baroda. मेरा account है Canara Bank में. मैं जिसको पैसा देने वाला है उसका account है Bank of Baroda में. So मैं चेक लिखकर Mr. X को देगा. वो चेक उसने Bank of Baroda में उसी दिन डालेगा. अभी I am asking you the question, same day अभी चेक डालने पर कितना दिन में आपका अकाउंट में वो चेक आएगा. एक चेक देता है जनरली जितना दिन में चेक क्लियर हो जाएगा. एनी आइडिया? मैं आपको एक चेक देता है, आपको उसका कैश विड्रॉ करने के लिए कितना टाइम लगेगा? आंसर तो लिखो, 1 मिनट कर लिखा है बहुत सारा. Excellent. 1 or 2 days. You are perfect. Nowadays, clearing days have come down. So 1 or 2 days. So ऐसा होने पर that is known as clearing drain. Because कभी-कभी यूनियन बैंक में इतना चेक क्लियरिंग पर जाता है, यूनियन बैंक का कैश कम हो जाएगा. Because the clearing, there is a lot of demand for clearing. Then comes community's choice. What is community's choice, children? To hold, if community's choice is to hold the money in relation to deposit in the bank, also determines money supply. That is, community decide करता है हम बैंक में पैसा नहीं डालेगा, करेंसी कैश में रखेगा. ऐसा सोचने पर क्या होगा चिल्ड्रन? Automatically money supply will be less. You did not listen. People are assuming that मेरा करेंसी का necessity है. ऐसा Indians got that. Indians are mad after cash. So people are choosing to cash. They are not ready to go to the bank. ऐसा होने पर this multiplier, the money supply will be affected. Again, I am repeating, if the people prefer to keep the cash at home and they are not ready to go to bank, then in that case, the working of multiplier, money multiplier will be less. or money determinants will be less. If the community prefers payment by way of checks than cash, then also money supply will be large. So now the question is arising, मैंने पैसा बोरो किया है, उसको पैसा में वापस कैसा देगा? Okay, am I going to use the check or am I going to give the cash? So if I use the check, then what will happen? Canara Bank को check मिलने पर it is easy. वो check एक बार clear करना पड़ेगा. Check तो मैं एक demand और either it is the check. वो check clear करने के लिए 1-2 दिन लगेगा. बाद में हमारा यूनियन बैंक को उतना पैसा मिलता है. That is the meaning of credit community's choice, whether community likes to hold money or community likes to choose check. I am asking the question, Indian community even today preferring what? Indian community अभी भी क्या prefer करता है? Cash या check? कौन सा prefer करता है?
Cash.
Very good. कितना भी डिमोनेटाइजेशन होने दो, कितना भी डिजिटल होने दो, इंडिया में अभी भी लोग पागल है कैश के पीछे, because they prefer cash. So community, whereas American economy, 95% of the people, they depends upon plastic money. Okay, they prefer plastic money. What is plastic money? It is the credit card bills. It's a credit card. So American ka lifestyle alag hai, hamara alag hai. If the community prefer the mode of payment by checks rather than by, that is the cash, then the money supply will be larger and vice versa. Okay. If the people are preferring to use check rather than cash, then simple money supply will be more. But one point is there, we mentioned that 1969 when the bank nationalized, then 1980, the other bank, 6 more bank nationalized. What has happened? People's use of bank has increased. So now they are very clear, okay, what to keep, whether they want to keep cash or whether they want to keep the or they wanted to give the check. The check helps a commercial bank to create the credit. That is the advantage for the bank. Then comes velocity of money. What is velocity of money? Very easy. क्या हुआ? I can ask the question. Answer कुछ लिखा है? Cash तो लिखा है. Children. So what did I say? Indians are preferring cash, whereas foreigners are preferring only check. If we are using more check, more money can be created in the economy. Then comes velocity of circulation. Totally new word. Ligo kidhar bhi. Velocity refers to average number of times a currency moves from one hand to other. Generally, every student used to write about velocity. Velocity क्या है children? एक दिन से for example मेरा एक 10 रुपया है. So वो 10 रुपया एक दिन में कितना बार वो घूमेगा? That is the meaning of the term circulation. I will give you the example. Early morning, I am drinking a cup of tea. Okay, tea का भाव क्या है अभी? I wanted to drink 1 cup of tea early morning. Okay, what is the price of? I told you by the average early morning. I told you I am having rupees 10 in my hand. And I am having a cup of tea. So, ये 10 रुपया टी वाले के पास जाता है. I am explaining velocity. टी वाला एक न्यूज़पेपर लेता है. So, ये 10 rupees अभी न्यूज़पेपर वाले के पास जाता है. ये 10 rupees न्यूज़पेपर वाले के पास जाता है. Then newspaper वाला uses this 10 rupees to buy the grocery जो है वो. Okay, अभी ये 10 rupees पहुंच गया ग्रोसरी वाले के पास. ग्रोसरी वाला ये 10 रुपीस से उसको जो टोमेटोस आता है वो खरीदता है. Now the money is in the hands of tomato person. Like that every day end में करेंसी इतना सर्कुलेट करके कभी कभी होम स्टेट से भी निकल जाएगा. That is the meaning of velocity. Children, tell me velocity. What did you understand? फटाफट बोलो. You have to unmute. जब चाहिए वो टाइम अनम्यूट नहीं करेगा. जब नहीं चाहिए पूरा वॉल्यूम.
Currency moves from one hand to another hand.
Perfectly. Currency is moving from one hand to other hand. And the velocity will affect the circulation. Because they wanted to keep their money. Some people, it is their choice, we cannot say that. They don't wanted to open an account only with the commercial bank. They want to keep the money and they will spend the money. The more they spend, the circulation of money will be okay. So this is the question that we have finished today. Is it clear, children? Chat में लिखो. देखते. लिखा या नहीं? हाँ. Good. Nice, children.